everybody, and welcome to our paint along session. So today we are going to be painting peacocks, bright, beautiful, colourful birds that really kind of show off the beauty of every colour of the rainbow almost. So today we're going to be doing two peacocks. First of all, just so that you're all aware, we've got our paintbrush, we've got our selection of paints that I've opened and got ready, and I've got some water here, some nice clean water to clean my brush. So we're going to start by dipping our brush in a bit of water, drying it off on the edge, just wiping off any of that excess, and then we're going to dip straight into the blue. Now the first peacock we're going to do is going to be on the right hand side. I'm just going to move the water away for a bit so I've got space, and we're going to create almost like a bottle shape. So we're going to start, I'll start the bottom for you so we can see, and we're going to go up and we're going to bring that in like the neck of a bottle, okay? So I go like that. Okay, then we're going to do the same on the other side. So bringing it down, kicking it out, and then down it comes. And as you can see, we've created a bit of a bottle shape. So then we're going to fill that in just a moment. We need a head to our peacock. So we're going to bring this side up, only this side for now, and we're going to curve it around the top to create the head. Okay, I'm just going to do it lightly for now, so you'll see that I haven't put any more paint on my brush, just because we're just going to map out the area that we want to do. I'm going to bring that down this way, and I'm then going to stop there. I'm going to bring it across, I'm going to bring it up. Bit of a funny shape at the moment, but bear with me because it is a process. And we're going to go again and then bring that to this one, and then all this area we are going to paint. So we're going to dip back into our blue and we're going to fill it all in. Now I don't usually like to paint flat, and what I mean by painting flat is doing like one block of colour. So you'll find that during this time we'll be kind of mixing colours, we'll be dipping in between other colours, because it creates a really nice finished look and it encourages you to all play with colour. It's so important to, when you're doing art, to be able to look at a piece of work and see that actually it's not made up of just one colour. It could be about 4 or 5 different colours in there to create that overall look. And you'll see this over time. It's something that you'll learn. It's a long learning process, and I'm always learning still. So we're going to just block it in for now. So just finishing off, taking it up to this head area. Now you're probably thinking that does not look like a peacock's head, and you'd be absolutely right for now. For now it does not look like a peacock's head. But this is all a process, so we don't do things instantly with art. It's about building up layers and things like that, and you'll see it will all come together in the end. It always does. Don't worry if you've gone over edges or it's not looking quite like mine. There is no wrong way of doing this, okay? This is me guiding you and showing you my method. That doesn't mean to say that you have to do exactly the same. It doesn't even need to be exactly the same colours. You might decide that you want to do a green and yellow peacock, although for your body, although we will be using those colours as well. But you don't have to stick by the rules, okay? This is the really amazing thing about what we do. I'm not drying off my brush, I'm not washing my brush, it's still got a little bit of blue paint on there, you can see, and I'm going to dip straight into the purple. And this is what I mean by we don't paint flat. I'm taking that purple right into the centre of my peacock's body, and I'm just going to brush it on there, just so that we have created a nice little bit of dimension, bit of interest, and give him an extra bit of colour, because like I said, peacocks are full of gorgeous array of colour. So we want to keep him looking like he should. So I'm going to bring that out to the outsides. You'll see that some of it hasn't gone quite through because it's not sinking into my canvas very well, and that's absolutely fine. We can come back to that once this layer of paint is dry, and we can relayer and relayer if we need to, okay? I'm going to leave him there for now, and we're going to finish the rest of his head. So, dipping into my water. It's a bit off the screen, sorry, you can't see the water very well, but I will tell you each time I do clean my brush so that you know too. So I'm dipping into my water, I'm drying off the excess water on the side, and now I'm going to dip into the yellow. Okay, so with the yellow, I haven't overfilled my paintbrush either, and it's really important to not put too much paint on your paintbrush, because you want to be able to keep control of where the paint is going on your canvas, okay? The less paint that you have on your brush, the much easier it is to control it all. So from where the blue finishes, we're going to go down, and we're going to go down at a bit of an angle. You will see that this is his beak. We're then going to take that angle up, and it's going to go up to here where our line was. Now I need to make his beak a bit longer, so it wasn't quite long enough. And we're going to draw a line through the middle. Doesn't need to be the neatest, just to sort of show where the two parts of his beak meet, almost like your lips, where you've got a top lip and a bottom lip. This is his top beak, this is bottom beak. Okay, we're going to bring that up, and I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to keep a little bit of white showing through, because it adds a bit of nice texture again to it. And I'm going to dip very, very tiny little amount, really small little, can you see that little corner of pink, the most minute bit of pink, and I'm just going to take it so I'm just using the corner of my brush right now, not using the whole of it, just using the corner of my brush, and where those two areas meet, I'm just going to do that, just so that we've got that little bit of definition there. So now you can see we're going to keep that area white as well, because it does add a nice bit of interest. And we've got a peacock's beak, we've got his head, and we've got the start of his body there. Okay, we're now going to go on to our lovely other peacock on this side. So dipping our brush off, getting it clean again, and this side, this time we're going to go into the purple. So I'm using purple, and we're going to do a little bit of a switch up. So this will be our boy one perhaps, and then we'll do the female one, or whichever way you can choose. But we're going to give her, we'll call her on this occasion. We're going to give her a different sort of a shape, just so that it adds a bit more of a dimension to our painting. So we're going to start from the top of his beak. So we're going to start from here, okay? And we are going to pull it down. We're almost doing like a snake shape. So you imagine. So I have no idea what Alexa is doing. I just said it's a bit of a snake shape, and now she's putting on animal sounds for me. It's quite fitting with our half-term theme, isn't it, with our animals? So thanks for that, Alexa. We're going to then do the next part of this neck, and we're going to bring that down, and we're going to stop just there. Okay, don't need to fill any more in. So we're going to take this area, we're going to cross it off like so, and then we're going to bring it all the way down and fill it that purple. Okay, so we're going to keep filling. Okay, so we're going to fill it all in, just keep in all our purple, add more if you do need it. And we're just going to block all of that area in, and we're just going to take it down, so you can just take it down like that, that's fine. Right, so once we have got the purple on, we're not cleaning our brush, and we're going to dip into the pink. And then the pink is going to go through the middle, just like we did our purple on the last one. Just going to pull that through, and you'll see that it's changed, and it should be like a nice kind of dusty pink, like a rose pink, which I think is rather lovely as well. Just going to keep that line going down. Okay, then once you feel that they've blended, the two colours have blended enough, we will move on to the head. So the head area we can keep with the pink actually. We're going to go around and we're going to go down here and then through here. Okay, lovely stuff. Now I'm just going to blend that out a little bit more. The beauty with you guys watching this on catch up is that you can pause, you can rewind, you can fast forward if I'm going too slow for you. So you've got the beauty of having the power in that sense. So do feel free to pause me if I'm going too quick. Do feel free to rewind me if you feel like you've missed a bit or you're not quite sure. Just go for it. Do what works for you. So I'm dipping in my brush, cleaning it off, dusting the excess off of it. Once again, I'm going to dip into the yellow, keeping it controlled, so the very small amounts, pretty much just on one side there. And again, from the start of that area to the top of her head here, and then down. And then this line here is what would be the connecting parts of the beak. And we're going to keep a couple of areas white just so that it highlights it. And then dipping into the pink once more, very, very tiny corner of pink. Can you see? It's a real tiny, you almost can't see it. It's kind of like the same colour as my skin. Real small amount on the corner, just so that we've got that control. We're going to go from that middle line and we're going to bring it down. Okay, don't need to go heavy on this, it's just to show where the beak lines would be, where the beaks would meet. Now if you feel like you want to, if you feel it's a bit too dark looking, just rinse your brush off, and without anything on my brush, just a little bit of water, I'm just going to slowly, gently blend that out so it's a bit more watercolour looking. Okay, you can blend it up so she's got a bit more of an orange beak than the other one if you choose to. Okay, now we're then going to move on to their lovely feathers. So we're going to do two different techniques for this. So the first one we're going to use, this side is going to be mainly purples and pinks and a bit of yellow. Then this side is going to be blues and greens and purples and yellows. Okay, two different techniques. The first one we'll do on this side. So I'm basically going to just brush all pink. Oops. I'm going to brush all that area in pink. Pink, 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 all the way down. Okay. And what's really lovely is that they will meet in the middle and marry and fusion their colours together, which will be so pretty. So we're going to bring it all the way down. Now this does take a little bit of time, so be patient with it. Trust all the process. Okay, and then we're going to bring it all the way along. Bring it down, really down. And then what we can do then is add in the feathers, add in a bit of texture, and it will look lovely. And the last final bits, because we can always add to it after if we need to. So we're going across the canvas to like the halfway mark, so basically between their two beaks. Okay, and then don't worry if you go over the lines, because we kind of want that anyway, because we want them to meet in the middle and fusion together. So it doesn't matter if you've gone over the lines. Okay, once you've done that, we're then going to dip into the purple. I haven't washed my brush and I don't intend to because I want to keep that extra colour on there. And we're going to dip into the purple. So I've got quite a bit of purple on there, not overloaded. As I said, we want to keep control. Just going to move this up a little bit so you can see where I'm starting from. And then down here, don't worry if there's white bits because we can fill those in after, okay? But down here, you're just going to make some tiny little mountains. So lots of like little M's for mountains. Okay, I'm just going to bring it along like so. So we're starting small. So as you can see, I'm going in between each one. So when I've done one, I go over it through those spaces for the next ones. Okay, so we're creating lots of lovely little shapes. Okay, now as we're going to go up, these shapes are going to get bigger. We're going to keep it in purple for now, and then we can add some more colour after once we know what we're doing. Okay, and where each one is. So I'm putting a bit more, just putting it on the corner of my brush. I'm literally just using the corner of my brush each time for now, because as you will see, if I was to go flat on my brush, I'd have a much bigger line than if I was to go in the corner. Okay, corner of your brush helps to keep that control, it helps to keep that line small, which is what we want because we want quite a delicate look to this, because they are feathers, they're delicate. Don't worry if you've got bigger bits of paint like this to the one underneath, because like I said, we're adding more colour, so all will be fine. We're going to just bring it all the way out. As you can see, it is getting bigger each time, going through the spaces each time. As you're getting up, you don't necessarily need to worry too much then about using just the corner, because your feathers are going to look bigger, so the lines themselves can be bigger, so there doesn't need to be quite as much control. Okay, and a few more up here. Right, oh sorry, I'm just going to pull this down a bit. Those last ones. Now, as you can see, we've got it covered in lots of M's. We're now going to go through with some more purple, and we're going to just paint about half. So painting the same half on each one. The reason that we're going to do this is that we can still see the colour of the pink coming through. We can see where one feather starts and the other one ends. So for me, I'm painting all the right side of each feather. That means then that there's always going to be a bit of a gap between them. Don't worry too much about the ones down here. You can just tap like that if you need, and that will still create a really gorgeous effect, because you're then adding that texture over those shapes. So it's really lovely. So we're going to fill all of this up. Okay, just doing the one side of each feather for now, filling it all up. And then once we've done all of that, we will dip into another colour, and then we're going to start on our other peacock. And also, if your concentration is going a bit, or you're getting a bit bored or anything like that, you don't have to finish this painting all today. You don't have to do it all in one hit. This can be something that you decide, oh, I'm just going to do a little bit for now, and then I'm going to come back to it tomorrow or later on when I'm feeling it a bit more. I've got a bit more energy, not quite so tired, or maybe you're popping out soon so you don't have very long. That's absolutely fine. There's no need to rush it, okay? This is the wonderful thing, is that, paint is so great in that sense that you can constantly layer over it. If you feel like you've done something wrong, wait for it to dry, just paint over it. It's a really wonderful thing about this stuff. also allows you that freedom to come back to it at a later date if you don't want to finish it all now, or you can't. So it's absolutely fine. This is the beauty as well about not doing the live, about doing it on catch up, because you can pause me and come back to it later. So as you can see, we've covered in all of, apart from that one, we've covered in half of each of the feather shapes. Okay, so they're all, we can see where each one starts and each one ends. We've got all this lovely pink in between. I'm now going to rinse my brush off, and I'm just going to highlight each one of those by dipping into the yellow. Okay, so I've got a nice amount of yellow on there, not too much as always, we're not overloading. And on the middle of each, I'm just literally going to put a nice little blob. Circle on each one, doing it pretty much in the middle of the feather. Just bringing it all the way down and down, and fill them all up. And you will see as we go further down, our circles need to get smaller. So they literally are tiny little dots appearing on our feathers. And you don't need to worry about down further there, that's absolutely fine. Okay, now we've got the yellow on, I'm going to dip into the blue, and I'm just going to highlight around just a little bit, like so. This doesn't need to be the neatest, you can just do a little line any way you choose next to the yellow. Okay, it doesn't need to be the same way, just highlighting and adding another little bit of curiosity to your painting. Try not to touch the yellow, although actually it would be quite nice because it will make a green. Yellow and blue makes green, but you don't need to touch, oh, nearly went into the wrong colour then. You don't need to touch the paint, you don't need to touch the yellow. You can just simply go around it. Once we're getting down lower, we're just going to do little fine dots next to the colour. There we are. Oh, missed a few up here. They've escaped me. Okay, so that's one peacock done. We're going to come back and do her flume and her eye in a little bit. We're going to move on to the next one now. So our next one is going to be a selection of greens and blues and purples. Well, throw in a bit of yellow for good measure, why not? Might as well use them all. So on this one, we're going to base coat everything in green. So just going to, I've washed my brush is now clean and fresh, ready to start this next one. So we're going to bring it all down, bring it down. You don't have to be super neat with this one, just get the colour on. Okay, and oops, that one on my hairs. Goodness me. Ah, come off. Sorry about that. Long blonde hair. Right, don't want that on the painting. Okay, so we're going to follow it all the way across, and as you can see, there's areas here where the pink has overlapped, which is just gorgeous, and we're going to paint over to that. Okay, I've put in quite a thin layer of green, as you can see. You can go thicker if you want, it just takes a bit longer for it to dry. So it may be that if you have put a good old loopy layer on, you may need to wait a little while for it to dry before we do the next bit. Otherwise your colours are all going to bleed into each other. So just using a thin layer is best for now. Okay, so we're going to overlap that somewhat just so that we get that nice extra element of colour there. Bringing it down. Bring it down this side. Forgot to do that on that one, didn't we? So we can come back to that one in a bit. Going under his beak and then bringing it down. Okay, and then all the way way down to the end. Now, we've done green with him, so what we're going to do, I've said to you we're going to do 2 different methods with these, which we absolutely are. So, I'm going to do a bit of green and a bit of blue together just on this area here because I want that to look a bit darker. I want that to be, because that's where his body's going to be, and his body is a bit darker. So I'm literally just tapping them together, letting them blend and merge and add a bit of texture to it. Okay, so just dots. We're not doing brush strokes here, we're just tapping. Okay, tap, tap, tap-a-roo. We're going to bring it all the way up to about there, where the bottleneck starts. Okay, excuse me. We're then going to use the same colours again, and we're going to do some brush strokes up like this. So red, goodness me, green and blue on the brush together, firing them up. Okay, doesn't need to be super neat, just nice quick strokes.